Hey guys, my name is Ryan.
And my name is Miska.
Welcome to Overwatch Central and welcome to Denied, a series dedicated to showing you how to bring down the most troublesome heroes in Overwatch. Recently D.Va was buffed, and as people learn to get to grips with her, they'll be a lot harder to take down, which is why we're here to deny D.Va and show you how to counter her.
Most of the time we try to make these videos timeless, but D.Va's rise in the current meta and the way that she dominates games across all game modes and maps is something we wanted to address. With so much armor and an overall massive HP pool, she's extremely hard to kill and can easily chase down any target of her choice. Not only is she a great pick in the triple tank meta because of this in particular, but her ability to stall, even just on her own, is far above any other heroes. But what can be done to stop the monster that this teenage Korean gamer has become? Let's see how D.Va fares against the hero lineup and list our counters. For this one, we'd like to remind you of how strong D.Va is in a lot of 1v1 duels though, but we'll go over strong abilities and solid ways of countering her throughout the whole video, so stick around all the way to the end.
As per usual, we start with Offense and Genji. The Cyborg Ninja won't have a very good time against the D.Va, and most of the time this matchup will just end up in both heroes running away from each other if D.Va isn't low already. McCree can help his team get D.Va out of mech and sometimes throw a quick flashbang her way, but in a 1v1 scenario it gets tough for him. Pharah will struggle against a D.Va a lot of the time, and with D.Va being able to stop Pharah from ulting even without a defense matrix, Pharah is far from favoured in this matchup. Reaper has enough damage to tear through D.Va over time in a duel, but in most normal games, D.Va will most likely just be matrixing Reaper's shotgun and ultimate. D.Va will have a hard time killing Soldier 76 if he uses his biotic field to heal. Overall, Soldier is favoured in this matchup, but it's far from enough to deal with D.Va on his own in a real match. Sombra will really struggle against D.Va, similar to how she struggles against a Winston, and Tracer will be able to take some damage and ult charge in, but will rarely kill D.Va fast enough to properly counter her.
The defense heroes often follow the same style of play. D.Va flies into them, defense matrixing and then harassing them until they die essentially. Bastion is up first, and whilst he can burn you down before you can kill him, you've also got to bear in mind that the rest of your team should be focusing their aim at the Bastion as well, meaning that the Bastion will probably go down as the D.Va is just approaching him. Hanzo's logs will even struggle to take on D.Va. The headshot damage is pretty decent, but not enough to crunch through that armor. Being able to wall climb and reaching a high ground as Hanzo also does very little for you, as D.Va can just use her boosters to get all the way up there anyway. Junkrat can throw a lot of damage into you, but again, defense matrix will just eat it all. Most of the time, even being trapped in a Junkrat trap doesn't really stop D.Va, and she can just continue to chase Junkrat down after that. Mei is an interesting one though, and can, to some extent at least, make D.Va's job a lot harder. She can't defense matrix her primary fire, the freeze, so she gotta watch out for being frozen and then bursted down. However, if you're just attentive enough as a D.Va, you'll be able to fly away using your boosters fast enough to not be frozen. And even if you're frozen, it takes a lot of damage to burst through D.Va's mecha's armor. Both the cooldown of the boosters and Mei cryo freezes kinda just makes the whole fight between the two very boring, long and just pointless. Torbjorn and his turret are dead meat when D.Va comes circling. It's ideal to go for the Torbjorn over the turret unless Molten Core is being used. D.Va will also just be able to take on the Torbjorn and the turret by herself, as the poke damage from the turret isn't enough to tear through the armor. And finally, Widowmaker, much like her being matched up against Winston, doesn't have the damage up close to really deal with D.Va once she is in her face.
Onto the tanks, and first up is D.Va herself. The mirror matchup is all about staying alive and getting help from your team in a real match. In a simple 1v1 duel, you'll most likely just be wasting your time unless one of the D.Vas is already low on health. A Reinhardt charge on a D.Va can do wonders, but other than that, Reinhardt will most likely have his shield torn down by the mecha cannons pretty quickly, making D.Va the overall favoured hero in this duel. Roadhog can be incredibly strong against D.Va. The hook should basically be used on cooldown, as it allows for the Roadhog and his team to deal damage to the mech during the window that the hook stun creates. Definitely a key pick towards countering D.Va. The whole hog ultimate though is near worthless, as it could just be defense matrixed. Winston just simply doesn't deal enough damage to kill a D.Va. The bubble barrier might help a lot of the time, but Winston will just jump away from a D.Va when he gets low. Zarya is another hero that can be very good against D.Va, at least on high weapon charge. If the weapon charge is low, then D.Va is bound to kill you faster, but with some teammates help and a little bit of charge, Zarya can still be a strong counter still, especially with her primary fire not being able to be defense matrixed.
Our last category is supports. Ana has a couple of options up her sleeve to deal with the D.Va, but not enough to remove her from the mech. Her best bet is to just land the sleep dart and get the hell out of there. Lucy can actively heal and avoid D.Va as much as possible, wall riding and speed boosting to be hard to hit. He's definitely not an easy pick for a D.Va, but he definitely can take her on and deal enough damage to get her out of mech. Yep, time for Mercy again. I guess this is where I say hard counter? Anyway, Symmetra's main damage can actually be decent up close against the D.Va. However, much like Torbjorn, if she goes for you before the buildables, she will just kill you really easily. Zenyatta's Discord Orb is a nightmare for D.Va though. Up close and personal, D.Va will eat Zenyatta alive, but in a group battle, you as a Zen need to discord that D.Va, as she will be out of mech in no time with that extra damage taken.
So let's go through the heroes with a whole or half green tick next to their name and explain why we've labelled these as counters. First up is Soldier 76, who we picked due to his heal helping him out in a lot of 1v1 situations. On top of this, the Helix Rocket can help finish off a D.Va out of mech, or just provide the extra little bit of burst damage needed to destroy the mecha itself. Next up we have Roadhog, probably the best counter against D.Va. The hook creates a window during which the Hog and his team can burst D.Va down. The hook creates a window during of which the Hog and his team could burst D.Va down, which is essential towards killing her effectively. This, alongside the great damage output that Roadhog already has on his own, is the reason why he's one of our main counters. Zarya is chosen as a counter due to being able to deal a lot of damage to D.Va even when she's got a defense matrix up. Just make sure that you have a decent amount of charge and you'll definitely be labelled as a threat by D.Va. And last is Zenyatta, who is incredibly good for helping out with that little bit of burst damage like we discussed earlier, and the Discord Orb is just too strong to be ignored when attempted to counter her.
Now, you might have noticed that we haven't really listed many heroes as counters. This is due to the fact that the hook and burst playstyle that Roadhog allows for is what your team should be playing around to kill the mecha. Just hook the D.Va and then have anyone on your team provide whatever damage they can to kill the mech fast. This is definitely the most effective tactic towards killing D.Va, and Zarya, Zenyatta and even Soldier 76 can help out with making this strategy a reality in your games.
And that's it for this time. Thank you very much for watching this episode of Denied. These episodes take a little bit longer than usual to make, so we try and pump them out as much as possible, but we can't sort of do them very often. But do let us know who you would like us to deny next in the comments below, and like this video if you want this series to continue. Thanks for watching, take care, and we'll see you next time.